So, in this video, we are going to talk about the 5 love languages and also about different blueprints that, every one of us incorporates and embodies. And I will give you a few tips on how you can include those into your foreplay to make it a huge success and to understand, for example, your partner way better, and to also help your partner to understand yourself better, so that at the end of the day, the connection between the two of you can be deepened and there's a lot of intimacy created between the two of you. So first and foremost, for the 5 love languages that are created by Gary Chapman, he divided 5 different aspects of how we can express and receive love. For example, there are the physical touch, words of affirmations, acts of service, gifts, and quality time. And every one of us is really unique in how we show love and how we receive love. And that can be really different from other people. So it is important to know how you self show love and how you self receive love, and also for your partner. I will give you a few examples for that. For example, for me, it is really important to have physical touch. I'm a really physical person, so I love being touched. But at the same time, when I show someone love, I usually use acts of service. And that just comes really naturally to me. And for example, when I'm with Andrew, I know that he loves to receive acts of service, which fits perfectly together. So whenever I want to show him basically my love, I can do some acts of service for him, and I know that he will receive that and see that as being loved and cared for and nurtured. And on the other hand, if he wants me to feel loved and seen by him, then he just hugs me or gives me a little kiss and other things that are more physical touch related. And as you can see, we show and we receive, or we give and we receive love in different ways. And I would like to challenge you to find out what is the love language that you use when you give love. That, like, what comes most naturally to you in that respect, and then also to have a look and maybe even a conversation with your partner. How does she receive love the best, and how does it come most naturally to her to give love? And we will dive into all those 5 different aspects of love languages a little bit deeper, so that you get a better understanding. And when it comes to physical touch, which is the first one, and they are not ranked in any kind of order, so there's no one language that is more important or better than the other. It's just different, and everyone is different, so there's no ranking whatsoever. With physical touch, for example, it is like, you want to be touched. You love to be to get a gentle touch, to hold hands, to get a hug, to be close to each other, to express your love basically through affection and touch. Not necessarily in a sexual way, but definitely in a sensual way, in a caring way, in a way that makes the other person feel very protected and safe and seen and really attractive, and you really care about that person. So this is more or less about the physical touch in it. It doesn't, as I said, necessarily have to do with sexual touch, because this is a love language, not a sex language, just to make that clear. But gentle kisses or like hugs and so on, as I just said, are all in that sector, I'd say. Then with the words of affirmation, that's a really beautiful love language in regards to people who love to get reassurance, and who love to hear or to see in words and verbal expressions how much they are cared for, how much they are admired, how much they are loved, and how special they are to the other person. And words of affirmation can come across through verbal expressions, by talking, Or they can come across, for example, in little love notes. Like, for example, Andrew writes me sometimes little sticky notes and puts them under my drink bottle. So whenever I wake up in the morning and I get a glass of water out of my drink bottle, then I see a little note of him. And that's something that really lights up my heart and like really makes my day a lot more beautiful. And I'm really, happy whenever I get one of those little sticky notes. And so you don't necessarily just have to voice it verbally, and at the same time, and we will talk about like how important verbal expressions or vocal expression is, you can definitely use this in the words of affirmation section as well. So make sure to also watch the video about tonality, about like vocal expressions, about how to voice what you want or what you need, and also what type of importance it is to have really on-point tonality and body language. Especially when it comes to words of affirmation and your partner loves that, then it's really important also how it comes across. And at the same time, words of affirmation doesn't necessarily just have to be, hey, I love you, I care about you, or I appreciate you. It can also be something really personal that just the two of you might have, like a little insight or something like that, or maybe just a little fun note, or something that like as I said, an inside joke or whatsoever. So just be creative with that, and it doesn't necessarily just have to be the words I love you. There are so many different ways to show love through words of affirmation. Then when it comes to acts of service, that's a little bit different. There it is not about the word, there it is more about the action. So as I said before, with the acts of service, if you really want to show your love through acts of service, or maybe you love to receive acts of services and that's your love language, that's more based on like tiny little things, like for example taking over things that your partner might feels a little bit challenged with, or that are a little bit draining in regards to the daily routine or whatsoever. Like acts of service can even be like tiny little things, like for example putting the toothpaste already on the toothbrush in the evening, or like if you know like what's the favorite dish of your partner is, then you can just prepare that. Or if you see, for example, Andrew usually whenever we are out and we buy stuff, or we are grocery shopping or whatever, or I have a bag whatsoever, like whenever I have anything to carry, he immediately takes over and he immediately carries my bags, and that's an act of service, and that makes my moment, or like my life in that moment, way easier. And it might be a little bit uncomfortable for him to carry everything, but at the same time, first and foremost, it's very masculine, and it's kind of like, hey, I got you. So that definitely is something women love. And at the same time, it's also like just this act of service. Hey, he might be a little bit inconvenient, and it might be a little bit uncomfortable for him to carry all that right now, but for me it takes so much like weight off of my shoulders, like literally in that moment. So those are acts that for example in daily life, or as an example, would work. Or for example, I know how much Andrew loves his porridge made, and how exactly he loves it to be made. And then, for example, I do prepare his porridge every day, so that he doesn't have to worry about that. Or he mentioned that in one of the other videos, in the morning after we go to the gym, he loves to drink a shake, a protein shake, and I prepare that. I even shake it for him. So tiny little things like that make him feel very, very loved, because his love language is acts of service, to receive. And I just love giving that to him, because I know that he feels very cared for and nurtured through that. So basically, acts of service can be literally everything that makes your partner feel seen and loved and cared for. And even if it causes a little bit of inconvenience for you in that very moment, or for your partner if you are on the receiving end, that's a part of like the act of service, but it shouldn't be in any kind of way like something that is really like uncomfortable, or really not in any kind of way positive. So it's just about those tiny little things. Then when we come to the gifts, that's again like when people hear the love language gifts, a lot of them think that it means you have to buy expensive stuff all the time and you have to like basically spoil your partner 24/7, and that's definitely not what it means. The love language gifts is way more based on like little things that make your partner feel loved or seen, and that can be a really tiny little thing. It doesn't have to be expensive or anything like that. It can be, for example, bringing your partner the favorite fruits when you go grocery shopping, something like that. Or when you are on your way back to just grab, I don't know, the favorite drink or whatsoever. Like it can be something tiny as that. Or when you see, for example, that they need anything in particular. For example, we go to the gym very often, and at some point one of my my equipments was just broken, and Andrew just replaced it. So tiny little things like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be like an expensive watch or a Gucci bag or whatsoever. Like that's definitely not what it is. It's not about spoiling your partner in regards to like spending lots of money on them. It's more about those tiny little things that also mean something to the both of you. Or it can be like, for example, bringing a flower back home or whatsoever. Like the other day when I went out for some to run some errands, I came back and I gave Andrew a sunflower because I just felt like buying it when I was on my way, and he was so happy to receive that, and that was a special moment. And I bought that because it reminded me of my mom, and like I had a really special connection with my mom, and it was her favorite flower, and so I just kind of felt like bringing that into the mix in that very moment. It was a really beautiful moment because it meant so much to me, and therefore it also meant a lot to him. And so it can be something really, really tiny. It doesn't necessarily have to be expensive. Okay, and then when it comes to quality time, that's a little bit different again, because quality time means it is just spending time with each other. Like, and that can be literally anything. It can be like the 5-minute cuddle in the morning where you usually would jump out of bed and immediately get ready, because I know like men are oftentimes more driven than us women. We are, especially when we are in our feminine, we are a little bit slower in the morning. Not all of us, but a few of us, and just like take our time and flow into the day kind of. And men are oftentimes a lot more like purpose driven and like, let's get shit done, let's jump out of bed under the shower and get going. And to just, for example, take those extra 5 minutes to cuddle her in the morning, or like when you come back home, for example, and to really like use that moment and give her a big kiss, and not just like a little peck on the cheek or whatsoever. And also like really planning time together and really dedicating time out of your schedule towards the person you are with. If your partner's love language is quality time, then really dedicate some of your time, and like really time where you are present, where you are 100% present, and not just a tiny little bit, and like you have your phone on the side and kind of like looking onto it all the time. No, you really want to be 100% present. And that's what they crave, or what this love language is about, to be really present and to take the time. And like we have in this course also a few date nights that we laid out for you, so that you get a few examples or a few inspirations on how you could, for example, plan date nights. And for a person who loves quality time, or who has quality time as their love language, date nights are the perfect moment to really shower them with your love, so to speak. So overall we have 5 different love languages, as we covered right now. And you can basically have, as I said, different ones for giving and receiving love. And also, usually we all have all 5 in us in a way, but there are usually 1 or 2 that are more dominant than the others. The others are there as well, but they are not as dominant. So try to find out which ones are your dominant ones, and also the ones of your partner in regards to giving and receiving. And then that's a really beautiful thing to incorporate into your foreplay, to build up throughout the day, and to just see and be there with your partner like 100%. And there is, as far as I know, also a test about those 5 love languages online. Just type in 5 love languages Gary Chapman, and it will probably pop up, and then you can even do a test on what's your love language is if nothing comes to you just like that. Another method that I would love for you to learn more about are the erotic blueprints by Miss Jaya from the Blueprint Breakthrough. Miss Jaya is a sexologist and educator, and she developed those erotic blueprints that you can see on this slide to help you to discover your specific arousal language, as well as to help you to connect with your own body again and to understand your turn on and as well the turn on of your partner. So there are 5 different erotic blueprints and erotic languages, so to speak: the sensual, the sexual, the kink, the energetic, and the shapeshifter. If we look a little bit deeper into each one of them, as we want to do now, you can see that they are quite different in how the turn on is basically impacting yourself, or what kind of turn on is going to come most naturally to you. So people who are most sensually turned on are usually turned on by sound, touch, smell, taste, sight, and things that are coming along those lines. They are really good in dropping into their bodies, and they are usually having a really high body awareness. So if that sounds kind of familiar to you, then it is quite likely that you are a sensually aroused person. Then on the opposite of the spectrum, so to speak, we have the sexual turn on, which is usually a real quick turn on. So you are going from 0 to 100 like in no time, basically. You're also more turned on by genitals and by naked bodies, and just seeing them or thinking about them can make you turned on and allow you to get aroused. Usually there's this misconception of, women are sensually aroused and men are usually more sexually aroused, which isn't necessarily the truth. So there are a lot of women who are sensually aroused, yes, but there are also a lot of men who are sensually aroused. Same with sexual arousal. There are a lot of men who are sexually aroused, that for sure, but at the same time there are a lot of women who are sexually aroused as well. So it doesn't necessarily is a gender thing here. Then we have the next box of kink. And kink is everything that is a little bit taboo, that is a little bit edgy, that is out of the box, so to speak. It can be power dynamics, physically or psychological, and it can also be bondage or sadism and masochism. It can be voyeurism or just, everything that isn't necessary in the norm or in the comfort zone, so to speak, of the mainstream. And kink can be has a huge spectrum, as I just said, by everything that I just named. But at the same time, kink can be everything that you want. Even if you are aroused by toys, for example, or if you are more into, as I said, those dynamics of power play or pain play, maybe, that can all be put in the kinky box. And it can be intense, but it can also be a little bit more of a softer kink. So there is no right or wrong. There's no judgment or whatsoever. It's just your very, very personal feeling of it and how you feel turned on and aroused. Then the energetic blueprint, those are usually quite sensitive people who are usually deeply spiritually awoken, or who are on a quite deep level of spirituality, and who most of the time also if you ask them how does sex or like turn on and like especially orgasm for you feel, then usually they would say things along the lines like energetically or physically or even emotionally, I was connected to the divine, I was connecting with God, with a higher power or whatsoever. So that's more of the energetic turn on, which is not necessarily something from this world kind of. It's more like a huge experience of like divinity and spirituality. And then last but not least, we do have the shapeshifter. And the shapeshifter basically means that you are aroused by all the four blueprints that I just mentioned: the sensual, the sexual, the kink, and the energetic. And shapeshifters are kind of like switches, if you want to talk in more of a BDSM language. So they are basically switching between those four blueprints, which is on one hand really great and like kind of an advantage, or at least it seems like one, in regards to their flexibility of like, for example, if a highly sexual person and a shapeshifter are getting together and connecting, then the shapeshifter can immediately talk the same arousal language as the sexual, because the shapeshifter is also sexually aroused. But at the same time, if it's always the same pattern that is played out in a way, then the shapeshifter gets maybe a little bit bored at some point. So it is always a two-sided medal here, and it is really great to be that flexible, that experimental and explorative and everything, and at the same time, it can also lead into frustration because you are just not able to express all sides of you with another person, if that other person isn't a shapeshifter as well. So in regards to those 5 different languages, it is a little bit like or comparable with the love languages that we just talked about before. There's no right or wrong, and it is not in any kind of way said that one language is better than the other. Not at all. It's just a method, or is an opportunity for you to understand and to communicate your own arousal in a better way, and also to understand and communicate the arousal of the woman you are with or your partner in a better way. And even if you are in a marriage and like you are with your wife for quite some time already, there might be a few things that you haven't explored yet, or that you don't know yet about each other, and maybe those erotic blueprints allow you a little bit more of a broader vocabulary and communication toolkit, so to speak, to really communicate about those things. Another thing that I would like to bring up here, there is a test. If you have no idea which of those 5 or 4 different blueprints are coming most naturally to you, then you can go on the Blueprint Breakthrough website and do a test to find out which of those blueprints are basically yours. And we have all of them in us, but they are just different in the in how much they impact us, or how much they are how big of the portion we have of those. And even with the shapeshifter, just to make that clear, it's not necessarily a 25% ratio. It can be that they are more into 2 of them, but not in all 4 of them. Or that they are maybe a little bit more into 3 of those blueprints, but not in all 4. So it really depends, but it is definitely said that a shapeshifter is more flexible in regards to turn-ons and those different blueprints. And also when talking about flexibility and like experimenting over time, I would highly suggest and recommend you to do the test again and again over time. Like wait a little bit, let a little bit of time pass, and then maybe do it again, or like maybe ask yourself those questions. You don't necessarily have to do the test, but just ask yourself and like be really honest with yourself in regards to it, because from my own experience, those blueprints can shift and change. especially when you are starting to explore more of your own sexuality, of your own arousal, and if you are opening up deeper levels with your partner or the woman that you are seeing. And then out of a sudden there might be a part of like a blueprint that comes to the surface that weren't there before, or that was just not there yet. So be playful, be explorative, and just expand over time and see where you go. And just don't take everything too serious. And even though there are boxes around those different blueprints, that doesn't mean that they are limited to what they are on this slide. So keep in mind, this is just an orientation and not set in stone. Keep playing, keep exploring, and also have a look. We have in this course a lot of foreplay nights, a lot of techniques, a lot of different advanced techniques that will help you to step more and more into all those blueprints. And to also explore more of your soft, silly, and savage, which is really, really important when it comes to the bedroom and especially to the foreplay. So have fun, explore, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.